2 weeks ago, as of when I'm recording this video, I graduated from my master's program, so I'm no longer officially an NYU student. But my NYU ID hasn't expired yet, meaning I can still enter school buildings. So I thought, what better final NYU video could there be than a tour of the entire campus? So that's what we're doing today. Buckle up because we're going to cover a lot. NYU is huge, so of course we can't cover everything. I'll be visiting mostly the key buildings in this video. The first thing you'll notice is that NYU doesn't have a dedicated closed campus like many universities do. Instead, it's integrated into the city, completely fused in with its urban surroundings. So if you have classes in different buildings, you'll have to walk through the streets of New York. Pretty cool if you ask me. Right now, I'm standing in Washington Square Park, the heart of the NYU campus with its signature arch and fountain. This is not actually part of the school, because it's a public park, but it may as well be since all the important buildings surround it. Just in the immediate vicinity, you have the Stern Business School, Bobst Library, Kimmel Student Center, the Law School, and several more. NYU literally cradles the park and makes it the central hub for its students, which is why it's so lively all the time. Vendors and street musicians are incredibly common here, and so are students hanging out on the benches or the grass. I'm recording this 4 days before school starts for the fall 2024 semester, so the park's pretty busy again. One thing to keep in mind is that it gets super crowded here whenever there's a huge event. The most recent example is the solar eclipse back in April, where hundreds of people, a huge majority being NYU students, gathered at the park to see it unfold. It's the perfect place to chill with your friends during downtime, and I recommend you check it out. It's pretty hard to miss. The first building we'll visit is Bobst, the university's library with a conspicuous red facade. It's south of the park and always has several food trucks lined up in front so you can grab a quick cheap bite whenever you're hungry while studying. You need to tap your ID to enter. The same goes for any other NYU building. They recently renovated the lobby, so now it has super fancy furniture, giving you more comfort when studying. Speaking of studying, there are countless study spaces, so many in fact, that it would be impossible to show every single one of them in this video. The library overall gets very crowded during final season. The majority of the library closes at 1 AM, but the lobby and the basement floors are open 24/7. Making it perfect for all-nighters. Other than that, the library offers tons of resources, quiet and collaborative study spaces, printers, monitors, and much more. If you love studying, you'll probably spend a lot of time here. Next, we'll visit Kimmel, the Student Life Center. Despite its name, I never really came here that often, other than for its dining hall and Pete's Coffee. They're closed over the summer, so I can't give you a good look at it. But if you're interested in checking out what NYU's numerous dining halls look like, I strongly recommend you check out this video I made on eating at every single dining hall. It'll give you a good idea of what they look like and what food they normally offer. Kimmel is also the central hub for school events, especially welcome events during the first week of the school year. There are some study spots here as well if the library is too crowded for your taste. You can also get a killer view of Washington Square Park and Fifth Avenue from the top floor of Kimmel. If you look closely, you can even see Central Park. Kimmel is also the go-to place for certain NYU perks, my favorite being the box office. Here, you're able to buy movie theater tickets at a huge discount. An AMC ticket cost $11 when I went last month. Not only that, but Kimmel also offers discounts for Broadway shows, games, concerts, etc. It's very much worth checking out. Moving on, we will now visit the Stern School of Business. Since I studied business at NYU, this was my home for the past 4 years. Currently, it has the Great Wall of Stern, which wasn't originally here. They installed it in the spring, and it seems like it's here to stay for a while, because they recently decorated it and gave it a paint job. If you're wondering, the wall was originally green, not purple, so it looks much better now. Also, it seems like they're going to completely renovate Gold Plaza, the square outside of Stern. They're going to make it into a mini park. I just wish they did this earlier so that the class of 2024 could have enjoyed it, but I guess not. The buildings have a lot of space where you can hang out with your friends and lots of lounges as well where you can study. There are no people today because school's not in session yet, but once classes begin, it'll be bustling with students. If you're an incoming Stern student, or just curious, and want to get a closer look at Stern, feel free to check out this detailed tour video I made about it, where I cover each floor of both buildings in detail. Since this video is a tour of the entire campus, not just the business school, I'll be moving on. Next up is the law school. As soon as you enter, you'll be greeted by the spacious and cozy courtyard with many places to sit down and hang out with people. I've been inside the building years ago during the pandemic to visit a cafe inside the school, and it was a very fancy building with a nice chandelier and great decorations. Someone told me though that they have installed turnstiles since then and that non-law students are unable to enter now. I don't know if that's true because I didn't go in to try it out. Anyway, I thought I'd mention this building because it looks cool. We're going to move on to the Paulson Center now. Paulson is the newest major addition to NYU's campus with its signature floor-to-ceiling glass windows and sleek and modern look. It opened in January 2023, and it is an everything building. Everything you need is quite literally within these walls, such as dozens of classrooms, a gym and several gymnasiums, a swimming pool, squash courts, a running track, a dining hall, a cafe, practice rooms for music majors, auditoriums for performances, and even a dorm for incoming freshmen. Speaking of dorms, if you want to know what NYU's dorms look like, I've lived in both the cheapest and most expensive dorms at NYU, and I made tour videos about them, so feel free to check them out. One thing I will mention is that NYU has 19 dorms spread across Manhattan. The 8 freshman dorms are very close to Washington Square Park, most likely so that students can have an easier time attending classes and exploring the campus. The 10 upperclassmen dorms are located much further away compared to the freshman dorms, so you'll have a longer commute to class if you live there. Palladium is the 19th dorm. It houses both freshmen and upperclassmen. Speaking of which, Palladium also has a dining hall, a gym, a swimming pool, and more facilities, so is very similar to Paulson in that aspect. Paulson, however, just takes it to the next level. It is awesome and you should definitely check it out. We're going to walk a bit north now, away from Paulson and towards the main campus area. It seems like I stumbled in the middle of a freshman event or something. I don't see any other reason so many students would be here before class begins in a few days. These streets occasionally get very crowded, especially during huge events like Grad Alley, which is held for seniors the day before graduation. You can find other school buildings walking on these streets, like the Steinhardt School of Culture, Education, and Human Development. Across the street, you can find a building for the NYU College of Arts and Science. Note that essentially every NYU building has the iconic purple banner waving above, making it easy to tell whether something is part of campus or not. Heading east, we run into Broadway. This is the campus stop for NYU shuttles, which are free for NYU students. It's a nice mode of transportation for those who live further away from campus. Depending on the bus route, they can take you to Midtown all the way down to Chinatown, even across the river to the Brooklyn campus. The bus stop happens to be right in front of the Tisch School of the Arts, which includes drama and film majors. Across the street is the NYU Bookstore, where you can get your hands on some sweet NYU merch. Here you can also buy general books, gifts, textbooks, and more. Not only do they have university-wide merch, but they also have stuff for the specific schools within NYU, like Stern and Tisch. I personally have quite a bit of NYU merch that I bought here, so you should get yourself a souvenir when you visit. And here on Broadway, you'll find the 8th Street NYU subway station. It's the station I used every day for the past 2 years on my commute to class, and it has a nice decoration of its namesake. I'll be taking the subway to our final destination, the NYU Brooklyn campus. The Brooklyn campus is home to NYU Tandon, the engineering school. It is the only school to be separated from the rest of NYU in Manhattan. Because of this, NYU technically has 2 campuses here in New York, Washington Square Park and MetroTech, which is the name for the Brooklyn campus. It's a pretty nice area. I've been here once before during the pandemic, and I can tell you that a lot of things have changed since then. The Brooklyn campus has 2 dorms, 1 dining hall, 1 market, and 1 cafe to serve all of Tandon. There are other food options in the immediate vicinity, like Starbucks, Chipotle, and Five Guys, with a nice park to sit in. I guess this is the Brooklyn equivalent of Washington Square Park. And that's about it for this tour. I probably didn't even show half of NYU's campus because the school is just that big. This was meant to be a general overview of the entire school. Keep in mind that New York is only one of 3 major campuses, the other 2 being NYU Shanghai and Abu Dhabi. NYU also has study abroad locations both in the United States and various continents across the world, giving students a perfect opportunity to experience something super unique that they wouldn't be able to in other universities. Also, never say never, but this is my last NYU video since I'm no longer a student. If you've been around since the early beginnings, like my freshman quarantine days, I appreciate you sticking around, and I hope you stay for my future videos, whether they are life vlogs or other stuff I decide to make. If you're new to my channel, thanks for joining me on this journey. If you're interested in what my 4 years at NYU looked like, I recommend checking my NYU videos out, or if you're into other stuff, I recommend my NYC lifestyle vlogs that I've made. I hope to bring new and interesting things to the table, and I'll see you next time.